Hey fellow target individuals, I'm continuing my reading of the patent for the dual-use directed energy weapon. I'm sorry I couldn't go all the way through because I had to get something to eat. I actually have it in front of me, so I might be eating in this video. I don't know, I guess I should have ate first, but I didn't think it out. Since the integrated electromagnetic energy source and image detector may include both the source of the first beam of electromagnetic energy and the image detectors, the beam director need not include an aperture sharing element such as element 128 in Figure 1. Figure 3a is a schematic diagram of the exemplary optical system that may be suitable for the beam director in Figure 1. The optical system may include a secondary reflective element and a primary reflective element. The terms primary and secondary are consistent with common terminology for optical telescopes. The secondary reflective element may be a passive reflect array which, although physically flat, may have a negative optical power as indicated by the dashed curved surface. The passive reflect array may have a pattern of discrete re-radiating elements, each of which receives and retransmits a respective portion of the incident wavefront with an appropriate phase change such that electrically the passive reflect array mimics the optical behavior of a curved reflector. An example of the passive reflect array is the FLAPS antenna technology developed by Malibu Research Incorporated. The electromagnetic energy source may generate a directed energy beam of electromagnetic energy, which passes through an aperture-sharing element to the secondary reflective element. The secondary reflective element may reflect a diverging directed energy beam toward a primary reflective element. The primary reflective element may also be a passive reflect array which, although physically flat, may have a positive optical power as indicated by the dashed curved line. The primary reflective element may accept the diverging directed energy beam from the secondary reflective element and may form a converging directed energy beam that may be focused to a spot at an object plane. The physical extent of the primary reflective element may define an aperture that limits the resolution of the optical system. The resolution of the optical system can be approximated by the simple relationship W equals R, I think that's theta. It's a Greek symbol and then D. I'm not sure. I'm not up on math, but it's a Greek symbol. It's like the little, I don't know if y'all can see this. I don't think it's theta. It's one of those. Where W is the spatial resolution, R is the range, and then whatever I said was theta. I think it's something else. You, science and math guys, comment below. It's the little legs, but it's that Greek symbol in math. So that is the wavelength, the upside down V, I guess, is how I describe it. And D is the effective diameter of the aperture. To focus the converging directed energy beam to a relatively small spot at the object plane, the aperture diameter must be a very large with respect to the waveguide of the directed energy beam. For example, assuming a range of 15 meters, a frequency of 95 gigahertz, with a wavelength of 3.16 millimeters, and an effective aperture diameter of 18 inches, the optical system will have a resolution W at the object plane of 10.4 centimeters, or about 4 inches. Let me go turn off my my oven. Real quick. I don't understand what I'm reading. I do understand some of it about the, you can make an image from microwaves and then shoot there's a primary electromagnetic beam, and then a secondary one that can pick up the image. And then it uses opticals to kind of magnify this energy, like optics within the weapon. But it's good. The first thing you look up on Google when you say the patent for directed energy weapons, this is what you find. It's not hidden. Okay. primary reflective element diameter of 18 inches may be suitable for a man-portable dual-use directed energy weapon and imager. Tripod mounted, vehicle mounted, and semi-stationary dual-use directed energy weapon and imager systems may include a larger primary reflective element, resulting in proportionally improved resolution, smaller spot size at the object plane. Forming an image of an object or individual using millimeter wave or submillimeter terahertz wave radiation is known to be an effective technique for detecting and locating concealed objects such as weapons and explosives. The millimeter or submillimeter radiation penetrates clothing and scatters and reflects from underlying objects. The scattered and reflected radiation can be formed into an image at a focal plane by a suitable optical system, and the image can be detected by an array of detectors disposed at the focal plane. The resolution of an optical system when forming an image can be approximated by the previously stated equation. Thus, a millimeter wave or submillimeter wave imager also requires an aperture that is very large compared to the wavelength used to form the image. The optical system allows a single aperture and at least one optical element to be shared by the optical systems for both the directed energy beam from the electronic energy source and for an imaging system. An optical element is considered shared if the optical element forms a portion of two optical systems, and an aperture is considered shared if the beams for two optical systems pass through it. In the example optical system 300, the prime reflective element, the aperture defined by the primary reflective element, and the secondary reflective element may be shared between a directed energy optical system and an imaging optical system. Okay, I'm gonna stop reading it word for word and see if I can find anything that I really understand, because this is a patent, so it gets very scientific and like to where I don't even know what I'm reading. But this is how the weapon works. I mean, it can image and it can kill. I want to read this part. The directed energy beam, and just look up on Google patent for directed energy weapons, and this is what you'll pull up, the first thing you pull up. The directed energy beam may have a first polarization state that is transmitted through the aperture sharing element. The imaging beam and the associated illumination source may have a second polarization state different from the first polarization state. The second polarization state may be reflected from the aperture sharing element to provide different magnification for the imaging beam and the directed energy beam, the primary reflective element, and optionally the secondary reflective element may have different optical power for the first polarization state and the second polarization state. Okay, yeah, it's a lot of scientific babble. I was gonna read the whole thing, but I cook food and I kind of want to eat it. So okay, so they have a figure 5, and it is an example of a man-portable dual-use directed energy weapon and imager. So that's what we're being hit with on the ground, like people holding these weapons, which may be the dual-use directed energy weapon and imager of Figure 1 and Figure 2 respectively. The dual-use directed energy weapon and imager may include a housing that is generally modeled after the shape of a rifle or other weapon. The housing may be shaped like a known weapon for psychological impact, and because existing weapons are ergonomically designed to be accurately and comfortably pointed by their operator. The housing may include a stock for placement against the operator's shoulder. The housing may have some shape that does not resemble a rifle or other conventional weapon. Wow, I mean, this is like, they're saying why it's shaped. I saw this guy in my window, in his window, with one of these handheld energy weapons. I mean, I saw him. Closing comments. Let's look at the closing comments. Let me eat another piece of this and drink some more. But y'all look this up. Directed energy weapons, patents for directed energy weapons. The first thing on Google that you see, and just look this up. I mean, this stuff, like, we are not whistling Dixie. We are not delusional. We're not imagining stuff. This is all, it's all patented. And people have been told it's patented many times. And we're still thought of as crazy, but I just want to read it and put it out there so y'all can, you know, finish reading. And I was going to read it all the way through, but it gets ridiculous. Okay, closing comments. The foregoing is merely illustrative and not limiting, having been presented by way of example only. Although examples have been shown and described, it will be apparent to those having ordinary skill in the art that changes, modifications, and alterations may be made. So that's why, like, I've talked about this. Like, they bring in people, and this guy does it. They modify these electromagnetic weapons. Some can burn, some can cause a lot of pressure. They can modify them. They can modify these handheld weapons, these ground weapons that shoot microwaves at us. So this is like a general start. They're creating a general start for how this weapon is produced with the opticals that the electromagnetic energy goes through and is magnified by. And there's like a first beam of electromagnetic energy that gets an image, and then multiple beams that come after that can hurt the object, that can affect the object. And when they say affect the object, that's when you feel the burning on the side of your head and the burning inside of your chest. That's what they mean by affecting the object, because it's a human being dying from it. So, okay, let's see. Just be understanding these excellent accomplish the object. With regard to flowcharts, additional and fewer steps may be taken, and the steps as shown may be combined or further refined to achieve the methods described herein. Acts, elements, and features discussed only in connection with one embodiment are not intended to be excluded from a similar role in other embodiments. For means plus function limitations recited in the claims, the means are not intended to be limited to the means disclosed herein for performing the recited function, but are intended to cover in scope any means known now or later developed for performing the recited function. That's a very complicated way to say you can change up this weapon, like make it stronger, make the means that you're doing it, you can amplify it. So this non-lethal stuff doesn't even mean anything. As used herein, plurality means two or more. As used herein, a set of items may include one or more such items. As used herein, whether in the written description or the claims, the terms comprising, including, carrying, having, containing, involving, and the like are to be understood to be open-ended, i.e. to mean including but not limited to. Only the transitional phases consisting of and consisting essentially of, respectively, are closed or semi-closed transitional phrases with respect to claims. I don't know what he's talking about. Use of ordinal terms such as first, second, third, etc. in the claims to modify a claim element does not by itself connote a priority, precedence, or order of one claim element over another, or the temporal order in which acts of a method are performed, but are used merely as labels to distinguish one claim element having a certain name from another element having a same name, but for use of the ordinal term to distinguish the claim elements. I don't know what I just read. As used herein and or means that the listed items are alternatives, but the alternatives also include a combination of the listed items. So these are patent citations. So there's like an electromagnetic radiation receiver, US 508-9828, a millimeter wave and infrared sensor in the common receiving aperture, US 521-4438, laser weapon system, US 561-2503, remote guard presence system with adjustable effect and process of using, US 6204762, method and apparatus to clear minefields, US 6487950, landmine neutralizer using a high-powered microwave device, US 6799499, System and method for standoff detection of human-carried explosives. U.S. 6967612. Millimeter wave area protection system and method. U.S. 7126477. Weapon having lethal and non-lethal directed energy proportions. U.S. 7490538. And these are all Raytheon Company patents. Solid-state non-lethal directed energy weapon. U.S. 7784390. Weapon having lethal and non-lethal directed energy proportions. By the Raytheon Company. February 22nd, 2007. U.S. 2007. So in 2007, 2007. So U.S. 2007 00400725. August 18th, 2005. That's a weird patent number. Wait, what is that? Okay, February 22nd, 2007 is the publication date. So it was published on February 22nd, 2007 by the Raytheon Company, weapon having lethal and non-lethal directed energy proportions. So they say non-lethal weapons, but they've already surpassed that to where they are lethal, and they've admitted that and created patents for lethal directed energy weapons. And that was published on February 22nd, 2007. The big boom of this was in 2008, when people started getting really hit with this, and gang stalking started going ape doo-doo. Was about 2008. That's very interesting. That's a very interesting date to be published. August 18th, 2005 for that was the filing date. So they filed it in August 18th, 2005. The Raytheon Company. Spatially fed high-power amplifier with shaped reflectors by the Raytheon Company. US 2007-007-6774. Hybrid band directed energy target disruption. US 2008-030-4549. Multiple frequency reflected array. US 2009-01-46907. Electromagnetic scanning imager. US 201, and that's how they can image you with electromagnetic energy. Electromagnetic scanning imager. US 201-001-17885. Weapon having lethal and non-lethal directed energy proportions. Another one. Oh, that's the same one, but it's WO. Weapon having lethal and non-lethal directed energy proportions. The same dates. No, August 17th, 2006. So they made, I guess they made a change to that. August 18th, 2005, and then August 17th, 2006 were the filing dates for it. February 22nd, 2007. Both of them became published. That's weird. That's very weird. But it's WO2007-022-33982. Cited by examiner. Weapon. They're the same. It's the same patent, but published August 18, 2005 and August 17, 2006. The same. It's a patent for the same thing. Weapon having lethal and non-lethal directed energy proportions. I guess they can make changes to it. Both published on the same date, but changes were made when it was published. Weapon having lethal and non-lethal directed energy proportions. Some interesting stuff. I do want to read this, the claims of it, and see if this makes sense. I may stop reading it towards the middle. A dual-use directed energy weapon and imager comprising first means for providing a first beam of electromagnetic energy, second means for directing the first beam of electromagnetic energy to an object, the second means defining an aperture, and a third means for capturing an image of the object wherein the third means shares the aperture defined by the second means. The dual-use directed energy weapon and imager of Claim 1, wherein the first beam of electromagnetic energy is a beam of millimeter wave electromagnetic energy. The dual-use directed energy weapon and imager of Claim 2, wherein the first beam of electromagnetic energy has a frequency of 75 GHz to 110 GHz. The dual-use directed energy weapon and imager of Claim 1, wherein the second means comprises a primary reflective element, a primary reflective element defining the aperture. The dual-use directed energy weapon of Claim 1, further comprising fourth means to illuminate the object with a second beam of electromagnetic energy, wherein the third means captures an image of the object using at least a portion of the second beam reflected from the object. The dual-use directed energy weapon and imager of Claim 5, wherein the first beam of electromagnetic energy has a first polarization state and a second beam of electromagnetic energy has a second polarization state different from the first polarization state. The dual-use directed energy weapon and imager of Claim 6, wherein the second means further compromises an aperture-sharing element that separates the first beam of electromagnetic energy and the reflected portion of the second beam of electromagnetic energy based on polarization state. So, I mean, these weapons have been created. They've been patented. I don't know why I have such trouble saying that word, patented. But let's have a contest where we say it a bunch. Patented. See, I lost already. I mean, this is just evidence that it's been made. It's the evidence of the technology, and still people think we're crazy. You know, people are using it, you know, at ground level, and you know, they claim that this thing, if it gets into the wrong hands, has a means of shutting itself down thermally, warming up so much that it shuts itself down. So these people must have clearance to use it on Americans. That's all I can think of on that. But check it out. The first thing I just went to Google and I put in patents for directed energy weapons, because I told y'all I was going to do videos on the patents for these things, and just check it out. It's very interesting that they, you know, let's see. It's very, very interesting that the filing dates for weapon having lethal and non-lethal directed energy proportions had 2 dates. They filed at 2 dates, and it was two-sided patents, and the publication dates were the same. So I wonder if they changed something in between. A little hanky-panky. Reference. There's some references. Thresholds of microwave-evoked warmth sensation human skin. 1997. Quasi-optical and spatial power combining. Microwave theory and techniques. Alright guys, well, that's all for my my first patent reading, and I didn't really get through it very well, because I got food in front of me, and, you know, I can't read all that nonsense that fast. I mean, it's not nonsense, it's true, but it's just like, a lot of it's such scientific language that I don't even know what I'm reading. But read these, check them out. This really exists, it's patented, it's created. There's a science for it. Exactly what we're saying. We've all, you know, we've all reacted to it, and there are some people that are like, oh, all these people, they just imagine this up. So look at the patents for this stuff, and many people who've made videos are like, there's patents for this, blah, blah. I thought maybe if I read some of it, it might help, just to lead more people there, to, you know, to just show that it does really exist. And to show myself, too, because I need to research this stuff a lot more. So, I didn't really know. I thought that they imaged us with I thought they imaged us with, like, maybe something that they were talking about in USA Today with the police having scanners, and then they shot the weapon at us. But it seems like these directed energy weapons have the capability of imaging through walls and delivering the electromagnetic payload. And I just read that and just figured that out. I thought it was like they were using some device to you know, surveil me in my house, and then that to shoot. But it looks like these are an all-in-one thing. You know, I'm sure they use other surveillance too, but when that's why they can aim it so good and aim it to such specific parts of your anatomy. It is scary stuff. That humans, and this is humans doing this. for whatever reason. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and say a prayer after reading this. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Dear Lord, just help us to understand this technology, and help people to go out there and look it up, targeted individual or non-targeted individual, so we can stop this, so we can stop the abuse of these weapons and the killing of Americans, and the killing of people all over the world, the abuse of animals, women, children, men, the killing and the slaughtering of people while they sleep. Please lend your power to our minds and our hearts to understand this technology, to research it, and present it in a way where we can get help from authority figures, judges, lawyers, police, and just that people will see this needs to end. It's an abuse. It's ritual sacrifice on an insane level in our country, in our world. Please give the target individuals wisdom. Please give us peace. Please give us physical defense, and allow us to present our testimonies and present our words and our stories, so that people will see them for what they are. People in pain, people who need help. Please lend your power to the situation. I have full faith in you, as I know others do. In Jesus' name, amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Alright guys, I'm going to finish my food. I'm going to do a patent series. I'm going to throw one in every once in a while. I've been getting out my videos pretty good. I just put out 3 videos. I'm going to try and get another one out. I still got my job. I still need to help, my family. And I'm just going to do it. I don't know if y'all know my situation. They keep bringing in new cars. There's three new vehicles that all came at very interval times with no license plates. So they're in the torture is really beefed up. They're overpowering my plates, such as someone who rapes somebody will overpower them. So it's a rape thing, raping me and torturing me in my sleep. If people don't want to believe it, they don't have to believe it, but I'm going to start to read some very concrete stuff that lays the groundwork for our testimonials. It's important. It's worth more than my life. I love my family. I love my friends. I love people, and I love America. But there comes a point when stuff gets so disgusting and people are dying, and women are being raped in their homes and stuff, where my life doesn't really matter in the face of this. And I trust God to do with my life as He will. And sometimes my human side comes out, and I get very egotistical, and I'm full of pride, but I trust in God. In the long term, I trust in God, and we'll win in the end. We'll get this. This is so evil. These people don't know what they're doing, and they're just killing Americans in their home for no reason. So we'll get there. We will. We can, and we will. We can, and we will. Was that Obama's slogan? Yes, we can. Yes, we can was his slogan, huh? So let's do another one. We can, and we will. But then that's from a book. From my favorite author, and I can't remember his name. He's a religious guy. Well, he's not he's my favorite religious author. Who is it? Guy Lakeview Church. Oh, I'll tell y'all in the next video. Anybody religious will hate me for forgetting his name. Joel Osteen. He has a book that says, "You can, you will. You can, you will." And I keep that in front of me. And I keep Minority Report, the movie, in front of me. And I keep a lot of things in front of me that I want to remember. So put things that strengthen you and you can remember and bring them to your mind just when you wake up. Put them in front of you. I see this, you can, you will, and then I look at the movie casing for Minority Report. And that's kind of my little secret metaphor for myself, because these guys, they want to kill me. They want to act like, I'm just another person to be slayed in their home. So let's all be Minority Reports. Let's give them Minority Reports. People who aren't dangerous, who are full of love, and can beat them. And prove their innocence. Alright guys, I'm gonna go to bed tonight so I can get to work in the morning. I just wanted to read that, or I attempted at reading it. You saw that I attempted. Didn't really succeed. But I'm gonna practice some more. The patents and the publications of them are very interesting. The dates, because it cites the patent for a lethal directed energy weapon. I mean, that's right there as plain as day. It's from the Raytheon Corporation, weapon having lethal and non-lethal directed energy proportions. So they're talking about the proportions that this thing can project. Like the electromagnetic energy that it projects, they had these patents for non-lethal usage of it, for non-lethal proportions that this thing could project, but that's gone. There are lethal proportions, which we experience when they crush our heads with microwaves or crush our chest. Those are lethal. They're killing. They can kill humans. And they're using those on innocent Americans and innocent people around the world. And I guess maybe this is common sense to a lot of you target individuals, but just look up, patents for directed energy weapons, patents for this. It's all on Google. It's all right there in front of our eyes. Anybody who doesn't believe it, like, I really don't care that much. Like, I care more about targeting individuals, but, like, do your research. Do your research. Love you guys. I'll see you on the next one. I just wanted to kind of give this a shot tonight. It's a beginning, but there will be much more to come. Alright guys, I love you guys. Good night.